Well, hello folks, welcome to another video from me, Fraser. Here we're trying something different. We're trying this new, well, when I say new, it's been out for a little while now, but we're trying out the passenger version of the 727. This is another plane I got during my travels. I just couldn't wait to get my hands on it, so I got it, and here we are. We're in the Royal New Zealand Air Force 727 livery. The original Royal New Zealand Air Force 727s were the 100 series, and they were also the convertible combi versions with the unfortunately it's not modelled on this aircraft, but it's got this big side cargo door for cargo operations. The Royal New Zealand Air Force had 3 of these, but only 2 were flying condition. The third one was used for spare parts, and I believe these were ex-United Airlines aircraft. I do like this livery. This is the old Royal New Zealand VIP livery with that nice teal light blue colour with the little pinstripe with the coloured roundels on it. They're very proud and iconic Kiwi roundel, modelled off the Royal Air Force roundels, but with our own little flair to it. I will get the newer version that's got like the digital displays and whatnot. Once I save up, I'll get that. As much as I love flying the old-fashioned navigation, it's going to become harder and harder as years go by with the advancements of the GPS and with the retirement of many of the old school radio navigation aids. So all of these aircraft that are all old school, they definitely will help with having all of the aircraft with the electronic displays, so you can be able to do all of the RNAV approaches that weren't around back in the days. But yeah, here we are. It's a really lovely aircraft, FS Flight Sim Studios 727. It's a really lovely aircraft. I really enjoy flying this. And yeah, we're in the Royal New Zealand Air Force livery. We're going to do a sort of your classic VIP flight from Canberra, which is, as most of you would know, this is the capital of Australia, Canberra, and we'll fly to Ohakea Air Force Base. I think this plane would fly to Wellington, but we'll fly it to Ohakea, pretend it's doing more of a, like, not a VIP Prime Minister flying role today, so we'll fly it to Ohakea Air Force Base. But we'll do another flight into Wellington, because this aircraft was, in a way, I guess you could say it was based in Wellington for VIP duties for the Prime Minister. But yeah, we'll fly it to Ohakea, then we'll do, I'll get it out again, and we'll do a flight from somewhere in Australia or the Pacific to Wellington. But yeah, we'll do this flight and we'll get in and get it set up. The great thing about this plane is I like this crew manager that they've got. So this will just go through and do all of the the flight engineers' flows and whatnot. Just get rid of these because I find they get in the way sometimes. Right. What we do now is we will go to our options, go to our flight, and we will load the SimBrief flight that I've got set up, and we'll get the aircraft all loaded up. Right, first things first, we need to just push the magic B number to set our burrow, and then we'll get this steadied. And we'll set this for our current altitude. Right, we will now program the INS, which you need to do right, otherwise it will mess up everything, which I've done a few times. So we need to get our airport coordinates, which are here, and I've got this Shift C stats, which gives us just to confirm our actual coordinates. So at the moment we're in what is the military zone, and the closest actual parking is here, 30, 31, 28, and all of these have got the same coordinates, so there's not too much variation, and that sort of matches with, I'll just get this so I can see it, 35, 18, 22, 35, 18, 22, which is good, 149, 11, 9, so that's all thereabouts, so I'm happy with that. So we will go into standby first, select this to position, and we will enter in these coordinates, and you need to make sure you do it correctly, otherwise, as I found out, I'm just going to turn on these lights, light up the Right, that's that done. So let's enter in these GPS coordinates. So we want to change that N to a S for south, so just push the S button, and it's gone down to south, and now we can enter in our coordinates. So it's going to be 3, 5. Oh, wrong one. South 3, 5, 18, 2. Insert, and then you go east 1, 4, 9, 11, 9. And now that will, if you go to this, into this setting here, this tells you how many minutes it's going to take, or seconds, to calibrate. Oh, now we're going to align. That's what we need to do. We've got to align, and hopefully that will align itself up. So we'll come back to that. We'll see if it's working correctly. Now we're going to enter in our waypoints for our flight that we're going to do. So we're going to select our first waypoint, which is, we're going to enter this waypoint here. Because it's just a straight line, I don't, and in these ones I've found out you don't really need to do that, so I'm just going to go from here into this coordinate here for our first waypoint, and then enter in TSAT, which is the one of the nav aids for Sydney Airport. So we'll enter those two, and then we'll enter all of these in. So we'll go into our SimBrief flight plan. We'll just hide that so we can see it, and we will scroll down here and we'll enter in our waypoint. So I'm just going to click on this little thing so for some reference, so we know where we are. I'm not good at drawing, so I'm just going to do a rough one there. So we're going to start entering in these waypoints. So our first one is, remember, push S to get it into south. 3, 4, 10, 7. Like so, insert, and then we want our east or west coordinates. So this one's 1500. $1,506. That looks right to you. Oh yeah, and 4.4. So make sure that's correct. 15006.4, insert. And then we're going to go straight to TSAT. So just put a 2 here. This is not working the best with the mouse, but it will do. So we're going to enter in. So once again, push S because we are south, so make sure it's on the S, and then we're going to enter 3, 3, 5, 6, 6. Just double check it, because if you get this wrong, you will end up somewhere else and get horrifically lost. 3, 3, 5, 6, 6, and east, E. 1, 5, 1, 1, 0, insert, and then we just do this for all of our waypoints. So I'm just going to use my keypad mouse because that's as close as I can get to a 3. So same again, S 3, 4, 19, 6, 3, 4, 19, 6. Just double check it, triple check it. I believe reading online, when you're doing this, I think you do it with the Copilot just to double check, because like I say, there's no display in the old school aircraft, and mess this up and you'll get horrifically lost. So that's 34196. Or 0.6 I should say. Insert east 15, 15, 7. 15, 7, 5. 15, 15, 7.5. Insert. And we will now, we'll just do one more for the stage, because so we can get into the air. Number 4. Alright, same again. S for south, 35, 36. 36.4. Insert east 15441, 15441.3. Just like I say, just make sure it's all entered correctly. 35, 36.4, 15441.3, insert. So we'll just stick with that at that stage. So we'll just go through this again, make sure we've got all the waypoints entered correctly. So 3, 4, 10, 7, 15, 0, 0, 6, 4, and we skipped these waypoints to TSAT, so it's 3, 3, 5, 6, 6, 15, 110, 3, 4, 19.6, 15, 15, 7.5. So that looks all pretty good. So we've gone up to Crawley, which is here, and once we're heading out towards Crawley, we'll enter in all of these ones while we're up in the air. So we will get this all, oh, the back steer has now come down. We'll have a little look in the cabin, shall we? I think there's a, yeah, there's a little blocker there. But yeah, this is the Royal New Zealand Air Force 727. Decent cabin. I'm not really bothered with cabins as such. For me, the key thing is, because I run it off a laptop, my key requirement is that it runs smooth as possible, and if it means sacrificing in the cabin, then so be it. I do like, the sound is quite well modelled for those people, for those of you who do like the cabins. You can hear it sort of getting a bit louder as we get close to the APU, which is off the wing here. And it's sort of even modelled, it looks a bit rough there, but you can see the heat coming off the APU. You can imagine in real life there must have been a bit of, what do you call it, fumes. I'm guessing these are airtight anyway, but having that right next to the cabinets probably wasn't the best thing. And this is coming up to the door, so we'll see if this opens. And here we are, coming down the yeah, there's a little block there, but anyway, that's the iconic rear stairs, where that, you probably would have heard it through so many other people, where a would-be hijacker jumped out with the parachute. Where he went, we still do not know to this day. Right, we're going to jump straight back to the cockpit, and we're going to now, all the loading's finished up, so we are going to close up all of the doors. And get it all ready for startup. Right, what we will do is we'll start our sim brief flight on FS HUD. And just for reference, we'll just enter in Canberra. VOR.
Alright, departure briefing completed. Logbook checked. Alternate flaps off.
And we'll just enter in TSAT just for some reference.
Stall warning tested. Engine and wing NDI set to off.
And what we will do is we'll pre-program, because we've got no other VORs until Wellington and Ohakea, so we will enter in Wellington's frequency here, 12.3.
Comparators checked.
Ride slow. Pull up.
And then we'll enter in Ohakea Air Force Base, which is 17.1. Yeah, so if you want to fly these old school aircraft, they are reasonably easy to fly, as long as you don't want to, and you're like myself, you don't want to go too hard into, like I've done this before and it's not too bad, but for those who, you know, want to just get going, you know, just make it easy for yourselves, you know, just do it, make it as easy as possible on yourselves, and just yeah, just use these tools, because in real life these aircraft would have been flown by two other people. So yeah, go if you like. If you want to, it's a really cool achievement to be able to like start these all by yourself and do everything,
DC power checked.
basically do everything yourself. But in real life, these aircraft would have been, I mean, it's flown by two other people, so you, yeah, make use of it. That's what I'm saying. Right, we'll go into our pre-flight takeoff and we'll just enter in the details. I thought this loaded up automatically, but it mustn't. YSCB. Yeah, it's annoying that YS, for some reason it does that. And we need to do our flight plan. Which runway are we taking off today? Right, while we're waiting for that, we'll start up the engines. So flick all of these up just so you know where you are, and then start engine number 3 first, is from what I've seen on YouTube. Wait for it to get about 10% into, and then find the fuel switch for engine number 3 and let it spool up. And we're taking off from runway 35. We're going to change that because we don't have RNZAF capable planes, so we're just going to, actually we'll just see what it looks like. So you fly out runway 353, then we want to turn and track outbound 022. So we will, so that's basically a what did you call it, what am I trying to say, it is, you can almost use that using your radar with your radio navigation, so we'll give that a go, so we'll select that to 35. Well, I'll get to turn on the other engine quickly. Right, we'll close that so we know where we are at. Wait for that to spool up, and we will get fuel into that engine. And we're taking off from runway 35. And we'll just go set all of these, set the speeds and the other bits and pieces. And we'll have the window open so we can hear that classic whine of the engines. Right, and one thing I forgot about is our alignment is finished, so we can go to here. And it's got the green button, so we go over here to navigation now, and it's finished aligning, so that's good. Right, we still need to do, what we'll do is we'll get the other engine started. And we'll finish setting up our takeoff, our navigation for our takeoff. Right, so we're flying runway 353, so basically around about here, then our course is going to be 22, and we're going to our engines are started now, we're just going to do the after start. checklist. Close that up, select this for rejected takeoff.
All takes out.
And we won't forget to set our altitude, which is,
All is good.
what is our altitude? It's 35,000 feet.
Power check. These pumps are all off. Hydraulic A pumps. Hydraulic system B pumps all off. Now,
So just need to remember at 33,400 feet we start our tune to track this radio, our outbound radio, and then we'll just go into we'll just use this for our navigation. Right, what else is there that I need to do? I'll just go through this quickly.
comparators check.
Right slow.
Ground proximity warning system. Airspeed warning check. Your dampers on. Spoilers check. Flight director check. After start check complete.
Sweet, we've done our after takeoff checklist. We've got clearance to taxi, so we will start our taxi.
Exit check. Taxi light is on. Left 15 seconds. PR is set to 0 decibel. 0. Trim is set to 0 decibel. 9 up. Smoky on. Air condition checked and set.
Need to go outside. I do like listening to this aircraft. It's got a nice sound to it. And for some reason I don't know why the we're just going to go straight across the runway. We are going a bit too fast, so we'll just pull back the speed a bit. It's interesting why it keeps on wanting to pull to the left like that. going quite slow at the moment, which is a bit interesting. Alright, we better shut this window, eh? It's quite a pleasant day here in Canberra. Got a bit of airflow into the cockpit. Smelt that avgas. I just can't wait till they do a Q400, a Dash 8 400. I reckon Flight Simulator is really lacking in highly modelled turboprops. We've got the ATR, but yeah, it's a bit of argument whether it's a good enough product. It works fine, but yeah, it could be a lot different. And the SAB 340, well, that SAB 340 is a bit of a shame, considering that that's why I got the premium edition for that aircraft, and it's pretty hard to fly it when things don't work, such as the navigation displays on the PDF. PFD, I should say. But yeah, for some reason the frames per second is a bit on the lower side, which is just a little bit frustrating. Right, we'll start our before takeoff checklists.
Before takeoff, check started. Auto brake is set to RTO. Ignition set to continuous. Essential power on generator. Anti-skid is on. Strobe lights on. XC lights on. Transponder is on.
Alright, I haven't heard from ATC. It hasn't updated my whatchamacallit, so we're just gonna
Air condition
take off.
checked and set. Pressure switch on flight. Before takeoff checks complete.
Right, we're ready to go, folks. We're just gonna spool up the engines a bit, and then you want to get the engines so they're hitting those little white markers there. You can hear that, the roar of those engines. Oh, that's such good sound. A very windy day here in Canberra, so excuse the rough ride. Look at that black smoke coming out, those old engines. So we'll start our at 3,400 feet, so we'll start our tracking outbound. And meanwhile, we'll just update our headings so it matches, so we engage our autopilot, it will look after itself. And flaps can come up a notch. Just trimming down just a little bit, and then I find this a bit fiddly sometimes, so we want to this is annoying. There we go. Oh, we've passed our outbound. Right, what we can do is we are going to engage the autopilot, just make things easier for ourselves. So we're going to go here, select the radio navigation to begin with, and we're going to select our altitude, scroll down the climb rate just a bit so we can get that speed above the flaps up. So the next stage of flaps can come up. Flaps up, flaps completely up. And I could do this and I'll do everything, but when you click on that it turns off the things like the lights and stuff, which you don't really need to do just yet. What I might do is I've got an issue with, I'm just going to change this. Right, we're going to use that as our climb speed now, so we're going to come into here and select indicated airspeed hold. And we are going to, I might just close that and start again. We can now turn off our landing lights, turn off our taxi lights, and we will, after takeoff checklists,
Ignition set to off. Landing gear off.
This is a flight for us. I might just reset this whole program actually.
Pump is off.
Yeah, after takeoff checks.
Right, we just take our thrust down to this setting here, and what we will do now is we will now set it up for our set our aircraft so it uses this this navigation system here. So we're going to go into here and we're going to select it to auxiliary navigation, and if we've done all of our waypoints correctly, this will now hopefully just follow our pre-selected waypoints that we selected into here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to style up the speed so it matches our little dot there. And we don't need this anymore, so we can just get rid of that. And yeah, we are now flying. We'll set our altimeters. Actually, I'm just going to restart FS HUD again. That we will set our burrow to standard. And I won't worry about doing that one. It's just a game, so it won't have any major negative influence over the and I'm just seeing if there's any yeah, well, this is a 1990s flight, so that was when lighting up mid-flight was just the norm, so we will replicate that. Right, now the moment of truth is, will this aircraft follow this flight plan that we entered, which we'll find out when we get to this waypoint, and hopefully it will tick over to that one. But in the meantime, what we will do is we will enter in those last waypoints. So we've done Crawley, I think. So we're gonna enter in these ones as well. And this is why we mark it, so we know where we're at. So we'll go to number 5. This is still, go to my little pen thing. Sweet, so once again we'll just go through and enter these waypoints and make sure you double check it. Oh, I must have done that wrong, so I'm going to clear that. We'll start again. So 37043, that looks good. Now we want our other one. Oh, east. Oh, it's already on east, so that's good. 15.830. Make sure that matches up. 15.8300. Yep, that looks good. Number 6. Sasro. Once again. 38348. 38348. Yep. East is 16,3000. That looks, and I forgot to enter in the east, but it comes up anyway, so hopefully that hasn't affected anything. Now waypoint 7, Tanyan, so I'll put 7 here. Alright, same again, south 43, oh. (40.304) east 17.033.4. That looks good, and our next one is Wellington, so we'll enter that in because we're still quite far away from Wellington, so we won't pick up the VOR. So Wellington is south. I'll just put an 8 here so I remember. For 1202. That looks good. 4122. Insert east 17.4490. Insert. So We'll just go through all of our waypoints again just to double check that we're already flying, so if we've done anything wrong it's probably slightly too late, but 34107, 34107, east is 150064, go, TSAT 33566, 15110, number 3 is 34196, 151575, 151575, number 4 3536 154413, number 5 is 37043, 158300, 6 38348. Yep, that looks good. Second to last, 4034, 17033.4, and our final waypoint, 41202, 17449. Perfect. And let's see if that follows through when we hit this waypoint. And what we can do is we can just put it on distance and time, so it tells us how far we are as we're now climbing out. And once we start heading towards our destination, I'll put it on to warp speed and leave you guys to it. But it's I do like these old 727s. I can't wait for the 737-200s to come out, especially with the nostalgia with me with growing up at Rotorua and going to the airport. It's very fortunate to see this in real life too at various air shows around the country. Such an iconic, beautiful aircraft, the 727. Apart from the Royal New Zealand Air Force, its heritage in New Zealand is basically that. There was a startup airline, one of our very first low-cost carriers, Kiwi Air. They started routes with the 727, but that didn't last long when they upgraded to the 757s and the 737-300s, and then they quickly replaced, because in the mid-90s these were becoming quite fuel inefficient. But I was also fortunate to see the, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to change this radio now to the Wellington one, because I don't need it anymore, so we'll get ourselves set up. 12.3, and then we'll set this to Palmerston North, to Ohakea 17.1. And our runway for our landing, we don't know what the wind's going to be. Oh, it's come up, so is that the runway with the ILS? Yeah, it is. So runway 27 is what we're going to be landing on, so we'll just get this up and ready. We don't really need that Sydney frequency anymore, so we will just go on and just have this set and ready for our landing into Ohakea. So that's triple one. And what else do I need to do? We'll see if this FS HUD is working, so I'll go open that up. and I believe we'll need to set our altitude up to here to 35. But yeah, what I was saying before is the 727, lovely aircraft, really cool to fly. I'm really enjoying it. Like the ability to have the I call it the ghost first officers, or the co-pilot, just to handle all of the things that you wouldn't do in real life anyway. But it's also an achievement to be able to fly this all by hand, but it's just so much to do. These are quite high workload aircraft, and when you just want to fly with the limited time that some folks have, it's just good just to be able to have that option, and just away you go. Alright, we'll get that set up, and we'll see how well see what it does with these next waypoints. And what I'll do is I'll just try and set a relatively good cruise speed. Right, that seems to be tracking quite nicely, folks. I'm quite happy with that. We will sit back and relax, folks, and enjoy the flight, and we will get back to you when we come into our descent. Right guys, we got a bit sidetracked there. We better start our descent pretty soon. Actually, we'll do it now. And we'll use vertical speed to get us down. And then we will, getting quite close for our arrival into Ohakea, so we're just going to set our altimeters to 17, I think it is. And what's our track into Wellington? .84, so I'll set this to 84. Make sure that's set to 12.3, so we should be getting that come up soon, and yeah, we'll start our descent. And what's our so we're not going to do the RNZAF, we're just going to do the ILS approach into Ohakea, so I'll just set that up now. It's going to be a bit of a crosswind there, but that should be more than reasonable. And we'll just change the arrival settings. Apply, so hopefully they'll update and we will fly that. And we're just going to start using our navigation now, our radio navigation, to get everything all set up. And we'll disregard this these waypoints here. We'll just use what this one is, which is the this is the tracking direct to Ohakea, so I'll just get that. It's all synced into here, so I've just got to remember when we get to Wellington, we'll head outbound on 353. We'll just shadow out our vertical speed because we are, by adjusting that, we don't need to be so aggressive with the descent rate. I can't remember, does this thing have charts? Yes it does, so we'll use the charts for this. Sweet, that's all set up, so we'll start using that. For some reason the charts are not, I might have to do that. There we go, we've got it all sorted now. Right, we're tracking on the Ohakea radio now, so we might as well just head towards our radio fix, which is going to be oh yeah, there it goes, 200. So we'll just go into heading mode. And we'll set this up for outbound is 200, so we'll scroll this so that outbound is heading aimed at the 200 and our inbound will be 40 degrees, I think. Oh, it'll be 20, yeah. And we'll swap that over to the Ohakea. Sweet, now we can start following that. Need to select heading mode first, don't I? There we go. Now that we've got the Ohakea Air Force Base all on track, we can set our radio to be ready for arrive for our ILS. So 1111. Now we'll just set that one to 1111 as well. Set that one up for the ILS. And we're just going to track out to this. Actually, we'll just go right out so we can intercept that as fast as possible. And we're going to be doing that at 15 DME nautical mile ring arc at 4,000 feet, so we're well on track for that. We might be actually just a bit too fast with our descent, so we'll just sort of shallow it out a bit more. You'll do flaps 30 landing. We'll get all of our landing speeds all set up. And we'll set our auto brakes to minimum. It's not a short runway Ohakea, it's a decent size for this aircraft, and we're pretty light too, so we should be pretty good with that. Oh, we can start winding this heading in so we can intercept this. Now we can turn on the seatbelt signs. Might as well just get it all ready now. We can turn on our landing lights and our taxi lights, get that all ready for our arrival. Alright, we can now select this to localizer capture. And we'll just keep this charts page open for reference. Looks like it's a bit of a murky day here in Ohakea, so that will be nice and interesting for our approach. So we'll set our minimums, which is going to be 400, basically 450 meters. So we'll just set that. Or 450 feet, I should say. And we'll just set our basically our final approach fix as we're coming into the clouds, and we'll dial the speed right back. We want to be at a reasonable speed for when we do this arc turn. We don't want to be going too fast, so I set about 210 knots. And we'll get this heading bug set up for our 90-degree turn once we get in within range of our DME arc, which is 50 nautical miles. So we'll set this like so. And I just want to reiterate again, I'm not a real world pilot, far from it, so things I'm talking about is probably not applicable in real life, and I am just learning. So I mean, I'm always learning, and I'm just going off what I feel is right. So we can start this turn now once we get to 17. Once we get just 17.5, we'll start our DME arc turn. So we have to flick this to turn knob, and then we will select the heading mode, which we will do it now. And we just keep these pointers, these markers for the VOR at just to our left there at a 90-degree angle, so we can keep that steady, keep it at that steady 15 miles, nautical miles. I'm just going to put a bit more throttle up just to get that speed up. Actually, I'll just put some slats down, and then we'll set this up for our next fix, which is going to be outbound 94, so that would be heading in towards our final approach, so 274. Perfect day to do this arc approach, considering there's actually why isn't that not going down? Right, we're going to decrease our speed, our altitude to 4,000 feet. And we'll just turn in again just to keep this within our 15 nautical mile radius. So I want to bring that back to where that little marker is there. And we'll get our little tablet out and we'll start getting it configured for approach.
Brake pressure check.
Altimeter set to 102. Boost pumps are all on.
Cross speed number 2 open. 1 and 3 are closed. Fuel heat off. Hydraulic pumps all on. Approach checks complete.
And our lesson course is going to be 266, so we'll set that up once we fly over this 274 course fix. So just as you can see, this marker's within this 90-degree, so we'll start heading back in towards the arc again and get back onto that course. But from what I've read on YouTube, I've watched on YouTube, sort of around that, within half a mile of the radius is usually pretty good. And I think in real life too, this is not as simple as this. There's lots of, like, from what I understand, lots of reflection off the mountains and whatnot. But yeah, this is a nice flight, flying over the plains of the Manawatu region. This is Palmerston North over here, the big city of Palmerston North. And we'll be flying over Palmerston North Airport. And we'll just set our altimeter to what they gave us. But yeah, that's looking pretty good. We're pretty much on our correct arc there, flying the beautiful 727 with the Royal New Zealand Air Force livery. Just going to increase a bit more speed, we're dropping off a little bit. And we'll bring this back in again to get us back within the within our course that we've got ourselves on. And we're pretty much will be heading in for our final approach fix for our inbound turn for our into our final approach. So once that comes across, we will then select our final course, which is going to be our for our ILS for our approach. Alright, we'll start turning now. Then we'll set this to 266. And then we'll set this to our RLS frequency. And now we'll go and come down to here and set this to our glide slope capture, our RLS setting that you set it on. You see, flick this knob into this setting here for our glide slope, for our capture for our RLS, and that worked really well, folks. I'm really happy with that. Right, we can probably look at, once we're on that ILS, we'll start getting ready for our descent. So I guess we can start with putting out some more flaps. Big huge slats. Now we're on the ILS now, so we're started our descent. Right, I think we don't need that anymore. Our go around altitude is already set at 400 feet. We'll just, for our landing, we'll just make sure these figures are so we're going to use flaps 30 for this landing. And I mean, I think this is classed as a wide-bodied aircraft, so we'll configure for landing. Once we get within 10 nautical miles, we'll start getting everything all like really set up for our landing. So our landing gear will come down now. And then we'll select the landing checks.
Ignition set to continuous. Anti-skid is on.
Landing checks complete.
Alright, select flaps 30, and we're all configured for our landing. Make sure everything all looks good. We've got medium auto brakes, which is great. Make sure you don't let that speed drop too much. Yeah, and we're all ready, all good to go. The autopilot seems to be handling really well, which is good to see. Really happy with this. And it's always a nice achievement doing these radio arc kind of things. I think in real life they wouldn't do this, they'll just get vectored in, but I just find it quite fun doing these approaches. Right, we will probably disconnect the autopilot, and we will do this last bit all of ourselves by ourselves.
Lights low.
And you've got to remember that we don't have automatic spoilers, so we'll get those deployed. And there we are, folks. We've touched down at... Oh, disconnect those. The speed brake, disarm. And here we are, folks. We have arrived into Ohakea Air Force Base in New Zealand. The landing went alright, just lost a bit of frames there. Flaps can now come up. And we can now turn off our landing lights and our strobe lights. And after landing, checklist can now commence. And we'll open up the windows for a bit of fresh air and listen to those nice sounds of the whine of these old engines. And this is the airport that I made myself. I need to release this. I haven't got around to it yet, but Ohakea Air Force Base was in much need of a bit of love. Actually, we'll change our parking, because I think that's set for these parks over here, which is where the new Poseidon aircraft are all being not too sure which one it is, but we will just park here, eh? Turn off our actually we'll go to this next one here. Yeah, this is Ohakea Air Force Base. This is where the squadron number 3, which flies the Poseidon 737 search and rescue / anti-submarine planes. This is where they are now based. They used to be based at Auckland when it used to be the P3 Orions, but the runway wasn't long enough for the new aircraft, so they've moved here and they spent a lot of money building a new hangar and whatnot. But this is where this is where they do a lot of their this is where our old strike air force, our combat air force was based, the A4 Skyhawks, which should have been the F-16s, but unfortunately they got cancelled by the government of the time. But this Air Force Base is home to number 3 squadron, I think it is, and they've also got the NH-90 helicopters are also based here, along with the beach aircraft, which are sort of training that they've actually been updated to do.
We have to wait for instructions from the ATC. For the next few minutes, we should continue taxi to our gate. Thank you for your patience.
Right, just turn off our... I'll quickly open up all of these doors before we lose power. And shocks, cones. Yeah, and that's us, folks. We've landed at Ohakea Air Force Base. As I was saying, it's home to the beach aircraft, which are used for the next stage in multi-engine training, but they've also been updated now for a new mission, which is basically AWACS kind of thing, like listening in, doing inshore patrolling of our waters for illegal fishermen. And the Texans are also based here. That's where the Air Force cadets learn how to fly. And there's also another helicopters, the A109s I think they are. They're like the training helicopters that are based there. I'll go for a little look around, at the at this Air Force base that I redid. So I'm not really good at designing airports, but try my best to make it a bit more realistic to what it is. But yeah, this is where the Texan trainers are based, and the Beach King Airs are also based here too. And then Ohakea is also the backup airport for divisions if Auckland's out of action, and Christchurch is too. They'll fly here. I think they prefer to fly here than to Christchurch because it's closer to Auckland. So there's been quite a few instances in the past where there's been A380s and 747s all parked up here because Auckland was either fogged in or whatever. This is where the A109s, the training helicopters, are based here. They also use them as a bit of a what would you say, bit of light utility helicopters. There's also a hangar here for the Harvards and all of the various old world, classic aircraft are sort of based here. And yeah, over there is where the P8 Poseidons are based. And yeah, well, that's us, folks. We've landed, we've shut down, and I hope you enjoyed the flight, and we'll be back soon with another round of videos. Take care, guys, and we'll see you again shortly.